Good evening, folks, and thank you all for joining us on another Monday Mayhem. We're going to jump into Chapter 3 tonight. Before we get started, we're going to cover a couple things real quick. With me in the studio tonight is Robbie Jed Rains. We are happy to be here. We're both sporting our Dark Angel medical hats for this evening. And gonna talk about a couple things before we get started. First and foremost, I wanted to let you guys have a little bit of a progress report. Robbie's book is clearing edits and going into layouts, waiting on final cover. So hopefully later this week, fingers crossed, we should have release information. And I'm well over 60,000 words now on the new Dark Frontiers novel, Mountain Devil of the Absarokas, and I'm going to try to have it done this week. I know I said that last week, but things just didn't work out. I wasn't feeling great for a few days and didn't get a whole heck of a lot done. But as soon as I get mine done, I want to get it, edits and layouts done, and hopefully I'll have release information right on the heels of Robbie's. So keep an eye out for those. Also, sometime tonight we will be giving away some memberships to the channels. So for some of you folks who haven't had a chance to win one when we have the regular show, when there's so many more people, we're going to give away 5 tonight. So there's generally not as many people here for the Monday Mayhem. So who knows? You might have a much better shot. So we'll be doing that sometime later on in the show. And Robbie, how the heck are you, brother?
Doing good. Enjoyed the third day of my 3-day weekend today. So it's nice to
always nice.
Yeah, nice not have to get up and go to work today for a change.
So, what should we expect from you for the next book in your series?
Next book is going to be probably the continuation of this series, but kind of what's going on now, without giving too much away. But it's the continuation, and
do you have a working title?
Grail Blood Oath. And for those of you wondering what Grail is, it's already been mentioned in which one was it? Was it
Dark Frontiers, Demon and Paladoro Canyon.
Paladoro Canyon. Doc's already mentioned it in that book. So,
and it's weird how that one little detail fell right into perfect place for the next book that Robbie's going to be working on. And it was not planned. It just seemed to happen. You call it fate, call it karma, call it whatever you will, but the pieces just seem to fall into place. So I'm really looking forward to see what Robbie does with this. It's going to be interesting.
And DA's already seen kind of what the workup or team dossier, or whatever you want to call it, for this next one. I think it's going to be good.
I think you should include that in the book.
You think so?
Yeah, I think you should put it in the back like I did with the Wild Hunt at the beginning. I need to go back to doing that, to put in the Wild Hunt dossier in the back of each book. I think I need to go back to doing that because the dossier changes. I mean, as team members come and go and mission profiles change, that dossier gets updated. And I really need to make sure I'm sharing that with everybody. We got a pretty busy night already. There's already 65 people in the chat. That is awesome. Thank you guys for being with us. The Monday Mayhems are really starting to gain some momentum on their own.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't noticed, if you look up in the left-hand corner of your screen, I'll move it around a little bit to draw attention to it. We have a new logo just simply for Monday Mayhem. I'm going to, parading it around a little bit there. But that's based off the Nightmare Hunter podcast logo, obviously. But Monday Mayhem is going to have its own personality, including, hopefully, fingers crossed, by next Monday, its own intro and outro. So it'll be different from the rest of the show. It's going to be its own unique thing. And I'm really happy to see where this has taken us. For those of you who are still wondering if we're going to be doing the Redneck Reading Association, that may yet come back. But it won't be the same as it was. It'll probably be members only and Patreon kind of thing. Especially now that all the books are out on audio, I don't necessarily want to compete with myself, if you know what I mean. Since the books are all now out on audio now, we may do the first few chapters of a new book just to get people's get people's appetites whetted, so they'll go get the download of the audio. But I don't think we're going to go back to doing the entire books. But we'll probably do a couple hour show on a few chapters and really discuss them and get in depth with the books. In fact we may do those as the book's being released to really build up excitement and build up attention for the release. So, like I said, it probably will be back at some point, but it won't be the same. I still get the occasional text message wondering if we're going to go back to doing the redneck reading, and it was fun, but at the end of the day, we come to the conclusion that we couldn't just put them out there because at the end of ultimately. It hurts us. I mean, when we put them out there for free, it's great. I know people like to be able to listen to them for free, but it hurts our bottom line, and I hate to be that way. But if I don't keep afloat, then none of it happens. So that's part of keeping my head above water. And this last year has not been good. And I'm hoping things are starting to get better as we get more material out. It's getting better for Robbie. I'm getting more things out for myself as well. So keep my fingers crossed that this coming year is going to be a lot better than this previous year. But that is yet to be seen. We've got a lot of work to do. Robbie, you got anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I agree with that. It's just, we like to help and put as much out there as we possibly can. But at the end of the day, we put a lot of time and effort into creating these books, and we, especially for DA, because that's his livelihood. I mean, I still got a job I get to go to, so it's not that big a deal for me yet. I'm just trying to build up for when I retire, just having something to supplement what I'm going to lose. But I we've talked about that behind closed doors, so to speak, for a while, and I think that's a fair trade-off to do a chapter or two from a book, just get the interest out there, see what y'all think, if y'all like it. That's a good way for y'all to know if you're going to like the book before you go out and spend your money too. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody.
Absolutely.
So
I was going to say something else, and I have completely slipped my brain. I don't know. I'm kind of in a fog, I guess. I'm not thinking about it. It seemed like it was important, but clearly, at least in my brain, it was not. If I think about it, I'll pop it in, and at some point, we'll probably wait till about halfway through the show. Then we'll give away the five memberships to the channel. And at that from that point, we'll decide whether or not we want to give away all 10. I'm probably just going to do 5 tonight and then give away the other 5 on Wednesday night for the regular show. I think it's more fair that way. But who knows? If we've got a big crowd in here by the time we hit the top of the first hour, we might just go ahead and do both, because we do have a lot of the same folks in here. Arlen says, DA, I'm for whatever helps you. I tell everyone I can about your books. I buy every new book you release. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Really do. Northwood says, DA, hopefully the fog you're in wasn't courtesy of Harley. No, he ain't in here tonight. Come to find out, some of the neighbors at the front of the house the other night were shooting off fireworks. That's why he came in here and gave me the gastrointestinal serenade. But he's in my recliner right now, snoring his butt off. So yeah, he's in the living room in a comfy spot. So hopefully we won't see him back here unless the neighbors are popping fireworks again. And we've got 78 people right now, like Wyatt pointed out. Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and start by reading what we wrote last week. And then we'll kind of start taking some ideas and work on chapter 3. But this is the second half of chapter 2 that I'll be reading. Hold on, let me double check where I was at. I got to find the spot. Yeah, I was in the right spot. I shouldn't have second guessed myself. No, that's what I get. Hold on. I had it. And then apparently shot right by it. Okay. Um, well, we had ended the week before with the paragraph that says, "This does not bode well," said the legatus. "If the southern tribes are uniting with the Picts, we may be facing another rebellion like the one led by Boudica and her pathetic followers." And start where we ended off, it says, "This could be far worse than that," replied Gideon. "If the northern tribes fall in with the southern Celts, we may be in for a fight on several fronts." "How's your cohort, Centurion?" asked the legatus. "Minor injuries only," replied Gideon. "Nothing serious." "Good," said Crixus. "Rearm and equip your team. Get them ready. We're sending you back out to search for more clues as to what's going on." "We're ready," said Gideon. "We need only grab supplies and replace our pylons." Make ready to depart," instructed the legatus. "We need to know what's going on out there." "We'll depart as soon as we're prepared," said Gideon. "Do you want us to take cohort 2 with us?" "I intended to send you out with them to see if your cohort was ready," said Crixus. "This little engagement has shown your cohort is prepared for anything. Go with our blessings. Cohort 2 will remain here as reserves, should you signal for help." "How far away from the citadel do you want us to patrol?" asked Gideon. "Follow the Picts," replied Crixus. "Find their encampment and strike them while they're unprepared. I doubt it's far. If you cannot locate it, then return before nightfall. We won't risk having your cohort exposed after dark." Dash, thank you for being a channel member, dude. I saw that pop up. "Understood," said Gideon, snapping a salute. "I would like to recommend Claudius Vintatus to be elevated to Optio." "It's your cohort, Quintus," answered Crixus, "but he is a good choice. Inform him whenever you wish." Gideon nodded and descended the stairs, returning to his cohort. "Claudius," said Gideon. "Yes, sir," answered Claudius instantly. "You are promoted to Optio," said Gideon. "Get the men organized and rearmed. Replace our damaged pilots and shields. Issue each man 2 days' rations and be prepared to move within the hour." "Yes, sir," snapped Claudius, unable to hide his smile. Claudius turned quickly and began relaying orders. Soon the cohort was moving quickly around the courtyard, preparing to move out. Within minutes, they were assembled with fresh weapons and packs carrying food and equipment. "I took the liberty of packing gear for overnight," said Claudius, "just in case." "Good thinking," said Gideon. We all know that no plan ever survives contact with the enemy. Well done." "Thank you, sir," replied Claudius. "Form up and let's move out," said Gideon. "We're burning daylight." With that, the ninth cohort gathered and faced the west gate. Once they were in formation, Gideon mounted his horse and prepared to lead them from the citadel. Claudius took his position beside the formation and relayed the commands. "Fratres!" shouted Gideon. "Move out!" The gates rumbled open, and Gideon led them out into the road. He kept his horse at a slow pace to allow the cohort to keep up. All the while, he kept his head on a swivel, watching the surrounding trees for any signs of danger. The first few hours were uneventful. They marched along the western road and saw no sign of the Picts. Despite that, Gideon could feel eyes watching them with each passing step. Something was hiding in the deep shadows, and he wasn't sure if it was the Picts or something more sinister. Gideon signaled for them to come to a halt and motioned Claudius to join him. As Claudius came up on his left, Gideon kept his eyes focused on their surrounding, only glancing to see if Claudius was there. "Do you feel it?" whispered Gideon. "Yes, sir," replied Claudius. "We're being watched." "It is safe to assume that we're being watched from all sides," added Gideon, "but something feels different. Something isn't right." "I agree," said Claudius. "This feels different than before." "Break the men down into 2 columns," instructed Gideon. "Shields facing out. If we're attacked, I want to form a line of shields quickly." "Yes, sir," said Claudius. "Oh, and Claudius," added Gideon. "Yes, sir?" Claudius asked. "Get into the formation as well," added Gideon. "I don't want to lose my Optio on our first patrol." "Yes, sir," said Claudius with a grin. In moments, the cohort formed into 2 lines, shifting their shields on the right side so they would face outward. Gideon knew most men weren't used to using the shields on the opposite side, but he'd been training his men to use different tactics. They were adept at fighting with weapons on their weak side. Gideon smiled when he remembered an old adage: the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in battle. Once they were assembled, Gideon spurred his horse and began circling wide around the formation. He stayed well away from the edge of the woods, but he carefully searched the darkness for enemies. He knew the Picts were masters of woodscraft, but their blue body paint tended to stand out. Yet he saw no sign of anything human. However, that did nothing to ease the growing sense of dread that was building inside of him. In the distance, thunder rumbled. The sky was already starting to darken as another round of storms seemed to be gathering. Gideon could feel the electricity in the air and smell the rain. The wind was picking up gently, and as soon as it did, his horse began growing skittish. Its nostrils flared and it reared up on its hind legs, lifting its forehooves a few inches off the ground. "Easy, boy," muttered Gideon, patting it on the neck. "What do you smell?" Lightning flashed across the sky, and just before the rumble of thunder sounded, another sound broke the stillness. It was the baying of some sort of hound or wolf. Whatever it was distant, but quickly drowned out by thunder. Gideon's horse reared, and he fought to maintain control, barely bringing the panicking animal under control. No sooner had the thunder faded when another howl filled the air, growing in power as it continued. Only this time, it was much closer, and Gideon felt it in his bones. "Jupiter's beard!" hissed Gideon. "What was that?" A dark shadow moved beneath the canopy of trees. Gideon only saw it for a split second, but that was long enough to tell him two things. One, it wasn't human, and two, it was massive, nearly the size of his horse. "Back up!" roared Gideon. "Close ranks! Ready shields and pylons!" He spun his horse, regaining control as battle training kicked in. He rode back to the column and pulled tightly on the reins, keeping the horse's chin close to its chest. He knew that the only thing keeping the horse from throwing him and bolting was the threat of battle. Its eyes were rolling back in its head, showing the raw fear the poor animal was experiencing. As Gideon was preparing to give the command to fall back further, a dark figure raced out of the trees. It was coming right at him, and in the span of a heartbeat, it covered the distance. As the creature dove onto the horse, Gideon recognized it as some sort of massive wolf, far larger than any he'd ever seen before. Ripping into the horse's throat and flanks, the beast pulled it to the ground. In a flash of teeth, blood, and claws, the horse fell screaming. Gideon yanked his spatha free and jammed it into the creature's side. Snarling in rage, the beast leaped back, blood dripping from its cavernous, gaping maw. Ragged flesh hung from the enormous 4-inch fangs, and red liquid covered its face. Gideon tried to free himself, but the fallen horse was pinning his left leg to the ground. He was trapped, and there was nothing he could do. The creature would be on him before he could get free. "If today is the day I don't go into perdition's flames," hissed Gideon, "I will not go alone." He readied his spatha and prepared to meet the beast as best he could. The creature approached him cautiously and placed its enormous front paws on the side of the fallen horse, adding its weight to the pile, pinning Gideon to the ground. As the monster crept closer, Gideon saw a flash of movement to his right. Claudius raced forward and threw his pilum. The weapon flew true and buried deep into the side of the beast. The creature snarled in rage and pain, spinning to face the new challenger. It crouched to leap at Claudius when Gideon struck out with his spatha. He slashed a deep wound into the monster's flank and drew blood, cutting down to the bone. Howling in pain, the monster spun away from Gideon and started to flee when two more pilums slammed into its side. With a savage twist, the beast grabbed the handles of the pilums and ripped them out. Before another attack could be launched, it turned and raced back into the darkness of the woods, vanishing from sight. They could hear the beast smashing through the underbrush as it raced away from them. Claudius and another soldier helped lift the weight of the dead horse from Gideon, and he scrambled to get to his feet. Once he was clear, he got up and recovered his equipment. "Thank you, Claudius," said Gideon. "Well, I don't want to lose my Centurion on my first day as Optio, sir," replied Claudius, grinning widely. Gideon just smiled and shook his head. "Indeed," replied Gideon, shaking his head. "Dolorasane." What does that mean again? Dolorasane, Latin for smart ass. That's right. "What are your orders?" asked Claudius, looking around nervously. Before Gideon could answer, two more howls split the air, one from each side of the road. "We fall back," said Gideon. "Return to the citadel. We have what we came for." "What do we have?" asked Claudius. "We can tell the legatus that they're using fell beasts against us," replied Gideon. "I'd put a month's wages on this being the work of dark magic. We cannot fight dark magic with steel. We need to find another way to bring these beasts down." "We wounded the beast," said a soldier. "It could not have survived those wounds." "A normal wolf would not survive," replied Gideon. "But this is no normal wolf. It's some sort of Versipellis, an unnatural beast, a monster in the truest sense of the word." And how do we defeat such a creature? Asked Claudius. We fight magic with magic, replied Gideon. We must consult an oracle. What are your orders? Asked Claudius. Form up, replied Gideon. We march hard for the citadel. If we're caught out here when the sun goes down, we'll join the other cohort that vanished without a trace. Ad signa, shouted Claudius. We're moving out, now! Hope you're feeling energetic, added Gideon. We're going for a run. Accelera! Which means accelerate or run fast, double time. Okay, let me clear the screen here. What do y'all think so far? From this point on, I will not be seeing the comments. I will try to answer if Robbie points something out, but I won't even be able to see the comments.
Toshi says pretty damn good.
Awesome.
Henry says interesting. Vicky says I'm loving it. Lisa Reed, love it. Molly says great, or it's great. Callan says love it, nice build up. Julie Welchek says so far it's great. So far it's really great.
Tammy says don't kill any more horses. I did see that one.
Yeah, Arlen says I like it very much. Yeah, don't kill any more horses. Judy Smith says it's wonderful. AJ says great so far. Kenneth is cheering for the picks. Stray Wolf's digging it. Wyatt says da 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 da, loving it.
Okay, well, chapter 3 we decided last week we're going to call the Oracle. And so what do you guys think? Should it be a Roman oracle or should he seek a Celtic oracle? But if it's a Roman one, he's probably going to have to travel quite a ways.
Let's see. Angela says Celtic. Marley says Celtic. Kathy says Celtic. Henry says Celtic. Vicky says I'm thinking Celtic. Roxanne says Celtic.
Looks like Celtic is pretty much the common consensus here.
Lisa says Celtic. Tammy says Celtic. Judy says Celtic. Tricia says Celtic. Richie says Celtic. Karen says
would a Celtic help?
Would Celtic help?
They might, because some of the Celtic tribes hated each other as much as they hated the Romans.
Yeah, pretty much everybody's saying Celtic, so I'd say go ahead and go Celtic.
Okay, so it'll have to be a tribe that was not allied with the Picts. Okay. Well, then I need a Celtic tribe name. Okay, let's do a quick. Okay, I Googled Celtic tribe in England that fought the Picts. Apparently, several tribes located in northern England and southern Scotland, including the Brigantes and the Gododin, fought against the Picts. These conflicts occurred in the centuries during and after the Roman rule of Britain. Well, all right then. So what? The Brigantes were a powerful Iron Age Celtic tribe whose territory covered a large part of northern England, stretching from the east to the west coast. Their territory included modern-day Yorkshire, Lancashire, and parts of the northeast. Conflicts with the Picts. As a powerful neighbor to the south of the Pictish lands, the Brigantes were frequently involved in hostilities with the Picts as well as with the Romans. So they fought both. The Gododin descended from the Votadini. The Gododin were a Brittonic Celtic people inhabiting what's now southeastern Scotland and northeastern England during the sub-Roman period. Their kingdom was centered around Din Iden, modern day Edinburgh, and this put them in direct contact with the Picts to the north.
That would make a lot of sense for for what ends up happening, and why Gideon stays.
We've also got the Bretons. The term Breton refers to the native Celtic people. There's still Bretons today in southern France. But the term Breton refers to the native Celtic people of Britain in general. After the Roman withdrawal, the northern Bretons faced increased pressure from both the Picts and the arriving Anglo-Saxons. So we got the choice of three of the main tribes: the Brigantes, the Gododin, or the Bretons. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you know where my vote goes, but it's everybody else's choice.
Well, everybody gets some input on that. Justin says, "What group is Davidson with?" At that particular time, none of them. Davidson doesn't arrive in the story for another few hundred years. This is a little early to think about bringing in. Envy Nux is a Wolver. Tammy says the Bretons. Everybody seems to like the Bretons. I'm kind of torn between the Bretons and the Gododin, because I think the Gododin will actually fit in better with stories that we've got planned. But the Bretons could have just as easily been, because it'd been the same thing, could fit in as well. It would just be slightly differently. Because they said that the Gododin were up around modern day Edinburgh, and that is very definitely the Highlands, whereas the Bretons would have been in the lowlands. What do you think, Robbie?
Well, what we've already got established, Highlands definitely makes a lot better sense. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, whatever they decide, I'm
not necessarily, because some of those characters are lowlanders too.
Yeah, but I'm talking about for what we established with.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He would need to be in the Highlands for that part to make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you agree?
Yeah, I do. Dr. 45 says one of the obscure ones. I know a lot of people have mentioned the Bretons, but I'm kind of leaning toward the Gododin. What do you guys think? I think that one really makes more sense, to be honest.
I mean, just continuity-wise is the only reason I'm saying that, because that actually lines up with what the things that have already been done and are on the way to being done. Let's see. Tricia said, "Do what I said." AJ says, "Gododin." Judy says, "Highlands make better sense." Tammy says, "You know what's best, EA. If they're important to the story, I say Gododin then." That's what Toshi says. Kathy says, "You choose, DA." Julie says, "If the Gododin fit better, I would go with them." Eric said, "There can be only one."
There could be only one.
Yep. Marley says Brenton is easier to spell. That's but the Gododin makes more sense. Wyatt says whatever fits best. Jay Bauer says, "Don't know enough about it to have an educated thought on it. Trust your judgment."
There is one other option I didn't even mention. The Scots of Dalriada. They were based around Argyll in Scotland and in Northern Ireland. They only spoke Gaelic. They never adapted to learn a version of English. But the Scots of Dalriada also fought the Picts pretty much throughout the Middle Ages, and it was but although centuries later it would be an alliance of the Dalriada Scots and the Picts who would actually end up finally overthrowing the Vikings and ultimately lead to the formation of the Kingdom of Alba, which is Scotland.
Alba Gobrath.
Alba Gobra. So we've always got the Scots of Dalriada as well. But I think for our points, our preference here.
Would that be where Summerlee came from?
Yes, he was from Dalriada. Somerled MacDonald came from Dalriada.
Which makes a whole lot of darn sense for the book. And what we were talking about too. So I guess either one of those would work.
I'm thinking. I think the Scots of Dalriada. What do you guys think?
Most everybody said they trust your judgment anyway.
I think we're going to go with the Scots of Dalriada.
And that'll tie in directly too with what we've done. So
yeah,
that's still a Highland thing. So that's the main thing.
I'm thinking for story purposes, the Dalriada Scots make the most sense.
Especially if that's where he came from, then yes. Because that would make a lot of sense as to why things happen that happened. It's hard to explain this without giving stuff away. You and I know exactly what we're talking about, but they don't.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go ahead and start writing. But see if you can get with the chat, Robbie, while I'm working on this. Feel free to talk. You're not going to disturb me. But, get with the chat and come up with a name for a new NPC. He's going to have to be Celtic, probably of at least one of those tribes. Don't care which one, but he's just going to have to function as an interpreter for Gideon. So I need a character. Don't know whether he'll stick around more than a couple of scenes. He could get killed. He could become a main character. I don't know at this point. But I need a character with a Celtic name from that time period to act as interpreter when he goes to speak to the Dalriada.
All right, guys, you heard him. Let's go. Eric says McCoy. Damn it, Jim. He's a doctor, not a pool man.
That's right. Hey, one thing I noticed about the project you're working on now, Robbie, I know this is a bit of a sidebar, but one of the characters you named in there, although he was a fairly minor character, was Fergus MacLeod, which is the original name of Crowley on Supernatural. Fergus MacLeod.
Was it?
Yeah. Which I think is hilarious. Leave it there. But I just wanted to point that out. I'm like, hey, I know that name.
Toshi says he's got Dommel. 420 Stoner says as old
Seamus
as he
McFly.
is.
He's the great ancestor of Marty McFly.
Yep. Stray Wolf says Mr. Haggis. Jonah Flanagan, suggested by T. Davis. Larry, we're getting to the prisoner questioning is coming later. Arlen Wright says Braylon. Richie says Irish name Sir Scott Snope. Okay, Bowers basically says he should be Mickey from Rocky. Boy, just smell it. Let's see.
Kevin had a comment. I can see the comments
on
the side of our screen, but I can't answer him.
Said that would have been before the Mick and Mac came into play. Then Callan says Shad. Sharon says Adoa.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have to have a last name for the guy.
Yeah.
All we really need is, I don't even know if the guy's sticking around. So first name is fine.
Curtis Murray says Ronan. AJ says Angus McFarlane. Cut me, Mick. Cut me. Bert Johnson says Ransom Stoddard. Nick
I
Bohr.
like that name. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Nick Warren says killing
Also,
Ado.
name Ronan.
Huh?
I also like that name Ronan. I've
Yeah.
got a friend named Ronan. Went to college with him.
Dr. 45 says Fingal.
That's kind of a cool name too.
Toshi says Caden. Roxanne says Amaglade. I guess. I don't know. Amalgaid.
I'm gonna guess that's Amalgade, but
Here's a good one. Milk Dud says Cormac. Yes, Jeff,
Cormac.
that's your new nickname, Milk Dud.
Cormac is a good name.
Yep,
That's one of my favorite writers, Cormac McCarthy.
Or the story. Did he write Cormac McCart? The story about Cormac McCart? Or not Cormac McCart? What was that? I got the book. I'll just have to get the book and show you. I'm
Cormac McCarthy wrote No Country for Old Men. He wrote The Road. Dude's kind of one of my idols. I mean, he's 95, I believe he is, and he's still writing. That's me. I want to be that. At 95, I want to be some wizened old man still cranking out manuscripts. Harlan says Bob. There we go. Bob the Celt.
Sharon says Aogan. AOGH. Is that?
I think it's Aowen.
Okay, if you say so.
I think. Again, my Celtic is really rusty. Noah's been studying Celtic language, Scots Celtic to be precise. He's been studying Scots Celtic for years. He uses that. I can't remember the name of it. It's a program you can get on your phone.
Stone?
No, not Rosetta Stone. It's another one. I used to have it, but I didn't stick with it.
Then you got Liam, Vicky, Angela says Tegan.
Eowyn means man of strength.
Yes, Kenneth, that's who I was talking about. Cormac McCart. Mac Art. It was kind of a Hyborian age thing. I didn't know Robert Howard wrote that too. I thought he just wrote.
I don't think that has anything to do with Cormac McCarthy. Cormac is a writer of his own, but I don't know that him and
book. This you would like this book if you hadn't ever read it. It's pretty freaking awesome. I read it when I was a kid. It's a great book. But he's like this Roman swordsman, but I just had to find the book and let you know the name of it. It's pretty cool. Thanks, Kenneth. I appreciate that. I was struggling on that one. Then Robin Ray says Wilhelm. Roxanne says Mattauc. How do you pronounce that? Lene says Ateangare. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce that one.
There's so many cool Celtic names.
Oh, here's a good one from Roxanne. Rigan. Rigan.
Rigan.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Let's go with that. All we really need is the first name.
Kay Bowers, that's Ramirez, is Sean Connery's character in Highlander.
Yeah, that's a Spanish name.
Yeah, he was.
Connor McLeod. Well, let's see. If I remember the quote correctly, that Chris Lambert said in the movie, he says, "I'm Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod. I was born in 1518 in Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shion, and I am immortal." 1518 is about 400 years, 1,400 years after where we're at right now. So just a touch early to meet Connor McLeod.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, almost one and a half millennia. Kay Bauer says, "What was the name of Sean Connery's character on the Highlander movie?"
That was Ramirez. I answered.
Yeah, Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, chief metallurgist to King Charles V of Spain.
What he said.
I like the name Cormac. I like the name Connor, and I like Reagan. So I'll let you guys pick. It's not gonna affect the outcome of the story, but I will let you guys decide which one you guys like the most. But I like all three of those. I think they're pretty cool.
All right. Got one for Reagan. Two for Reagan. Birchers don't count because we didn't have Bullvive, which is a Viking name.
That's a Viking name.
I like it though, Bert.
It's actually spelled Bulwyf. That's how it was. How it's spelled.
Bulve. Yeah.
Kurgan. Kurgan was they were Russian. Kurgans were an ancient people from the steppes of Russia. I remember my Highlander stuff. They were from the steppes of Russia. So
I think you could safely say go ahead and use Reagan because that's what's coming up.
Okay. All right.
With the exception of Bulvi and Kurgan, it's been all Reagan.
Okay. Well, we'll go with Reagan then.
Oh yeah, and we forgot to mention rest in peace to Graham Greene. He died.
Oh yeah. Graham Greene's a great actor. I forgot. I just read about that recently. I loved him in Longmire, but he's been in a lot of great stuff over the years. Fantastic actor.
I really remember seeing him in and paying attention to him in was Dances with Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Kicking Bird.
He was one of my choices for Jay Matoska.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I told you from the start when I started reading it that's who I saw as Jay Matoska was Graham Greene.
Arlen says Regan, aka Bob.
What's your Rio, Bob? Bob.
How did I spell that? I need to look that up. Hold on. Need to fix that. So, is that the correct spelling of Regan? Was it Rigan?
Yeah, Rigan.
Okay. Kevin Bode. Oh yeah, West Studi. Yeah, I saw that. I like I said, I could see some of the comments, but I can't respond to them. West Studi is actually who I had in mind for Jay Matoska, but Graham Greene would have been another great choice.
The way Jay is, I see more Graham Greene, and the way Black Fox is, that's who I would say West Studi, because he always plays that kind of
little bit of dangerous character.
Yeah. So I would see him being.
I tell you who I thought who I thought for Black Fox personally, Zahn McLaren plays Matthias on Longmire.
Oh yeah. I didn't know that was his name. Yeah.
He's who I kind of had in mind for Black Fox.
But think of West Studi and Last of the Mohicans.
Mm-hmm.
How
he was a dangerous dude in Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah. Until he came up against the Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
Then he wasn't so much of a badass anymore, but still, up until that point, you think about the way Black Fox was. That just, to me, that's what I've always seen. And then he just always played those kind of characters, just with that edge to him. Chingatuk. That's who I was trying to think. I couldn't think of what his name was in that movie or in the book. Speaking of that, though, that cat that played Daniel Day-Lewis's brother in that movie, one that played Nicholas, he, to me, is Micah. That's
I
just
can
that
see
look.
that.
He's just got that look. You look at him and the way he was, that just kind of that same personality of just that little smart ass. And I did that speech that he gives at the end of the movie. I did that for my 12th grade theater class. We had to do something like that, or we had to pick a prose. Is that what you
Mhm.
call it? We had to pick it. So I did that one. So I had to get up on stage in front of like every senior theater member. Lights on me, nobody else on stage, and I had to give that monologue he gives at the end of the movie and the end of the book to the Great Spirit. It was a sobering experience.
Robbie, I need to send you some links, especially to go with this last book you just did. There's he lives in New Zealand, but he's of Scottish descent. He's a guy named Stephen McDonald, and he does what's called a concept album. The album tells a story from the beginning to the end. It's all one story, although it's broken up among songs. It's all one story, and you should check out Stephen McDonald. The album Sons of Summerlead, I think it would really get to you, or Highland Farewell. Those are my two favorite. But he's got like 6 albums out, and all of it is like Celtic style Scottish music, telling stories about the clearances and about Culloden, but it's very moving music. I listen to it a lot when I write.
Send it to me. I'll check it out.
Okay, I'll send you some links later. And folks, if you guys were listening to that, if you want to listen to some really really cool Scottish music, look up Stephen McDonald, especially the album Sons of Summerlead and Highland Farewell. In fact, I think I would listen to Sons of Summerlead then Highland Farewell. But you get to hear a lot of Scottish oral tradition is in these songs. He talks about the history, not just the history that's taught in history books, but he really does a good job of singing storytelling. If that makes sense to you, he's telling stories, but he's doing it in song form, like an old true bard, and they're really good.
Richie says he's got a question. He says, Lakeview Man, what is that about, and does it have audio? All DA's books are on audio or on Audible right now. He's gone back and painstakingly put every one of them on Audible. So yes, it does have it.
And Lakeview Man is about a small sheriff's department here in Missouri dealing with a cryptid threat and how they have to adapt to learn to deal with something that they didn't even think was real.
Yeah, let's see. Lakeview Man, Beast of Blunk Road, Lakeview Man, Death Winter, and there one more.
Lakeview Man First Duty, Beast of Blunk Road, and Dead of Winter.
I thought I forgot one in the middle of all that.
It happens, dude. I forget them sometimes myself. However, I've already got plans for the next Lakeview Man book. Let me pull it up real quick.
Very good, Angela. Lakeview Man is Clark's origin story.
Yeah, it really is. The next Lakeview Man, is going to be Return to Blunk Road.
Wonder what inspired that.
I'm going to guess 4 idiots almost getting it.
Get in the car. Get in the car.
Yeah, Doc. That's what the night Doc got his Formula One badge.
Yep, General Thermal don't lie. But that was not on Blanc Road. That was
Moon Valley.
Moon Valley. Same night, though. I think it was the same night, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It was the same night. Because
yeah, we were out pretty much that whole night. We were out real late. We left Blanc Road and then went down to Moon Valley. And no matter what we did, we couldn't get Doc to look at the doll village.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what he kept saying. Okay.
Message has been held for review, but I can see it. Arlen Wright wants to know how far away from Blanc Road is when what's his name shot the Bigfoot in the nether region with the flare gun.
That was also in a Lakeview Man book, but it was in the second one, Lakeview Man First Duty. Blanc Road happened after, but as far as distance apart, as the crow flies, probably 10 miles. By road, probably 15, because there is no direct road between those two locations. But it ain't far. Robin Ray said, supper time in Moon Valley. It just about was. Looks like Fat Guy's back on the menu, boys. Kevin, I don't know if I'm going to have all of the new books on the table for Ohio. I'm going to try. But to be honest, I don't have a whole lot of cash this month to order more books. So I'm basically going to have to bring what I've got. I don't think I'm going to be able to order the new ones in. I would love to be able to, but I don't have an extra $500-600 to shell out on books right at the moment. We're meeting bills this month, and that's about it. And by the time my check comes at the end of this month, it'll come on the 29th. That's when Amazon mails out the checks. I won't have enough time to get more books printed and get them shipped in. So I would need to order them about now to get as the copies in I need. And I probably, in order to have all of the new ones in, that would include Heart of Iron and all the others, there's probably about 10 books I need to get at least 5 copies of. So that's going to get a little pricey. So I apologize in advance. I may not have all of the new books on the table. The ones I will have are the ones you've already got, brother. I'm sorry. Northwoods, yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes all you can do is keep the lights on, and that's these last few months have been that way. The book sales just haven't been that strong, but the sales from I know Dead of Winter has been out for a little bit, but Amazon pays far enough behind that those haven't hit yet. So the first month of the sales of Dead of Winter hits at the end of this month, and then we'll be in a lot better position. However, it's getting there is the problem. Bert Johnson, when do you get to hear about Team Odin again? The book I'm working on right now is the next Dark Frontiers book. It's called Dark Frontiers: Mountain Devil of the Absarokas. I am almost done, and I've already pulled most of my research. So as soon as it's done and I get it sent off to Amazon to be uploaded, I'm immediately going to start on Codename Wild Hunt Leviathan Down. So it's ready to start. um, when did the tartans start getting worn? I think it was after 108.
Yeah, it was. I want to say 14.
At 108, I don't think there would have been. I don't think there would have been any tartans. So
No,
I'm going to describe him as wearing mostly animal skins and leather.
because a lot of the stuff that research I did for mine in 1700s, they were still wearing what they call plaids. They're still like, not everybody was wearing kilts at that time either. So no, there would not have been tartans or kilts or anything in that
What
time.
about cloaks? Would they have?
They probably would have had cloaks. I know from my research for the time that I'm in now, that was a big thing that they had. They all had cloaks, so possibly they would have had them during that time too.
Let's see what the Google says. I'm going to actually look at some images so I can get kind of a feel. This says the Scots didn't start wearing kilts until the 16th century. With the great kilt, belted plaid, a full-length draped garment that evolved from the larger, more ancient big wrap. So what is the big wrap? Okay, even that the big wrap, also known as the filet mort, it was the great kilt that didn't come into favor until the 16th century. So he probably wouldn't have any kind of kilt or tartan at all.
Yeah.
Okay, that settles that. And then I don't have to answer whether he's going full regimental. I would love to have a kilt of my family's tartan. One of these days, when I got the money, I'm going to get one. Northwood said the most feared modern Scottish troops are in airborne units. Nobody wants to look up and see that coming down at them. Yeah, because they won't shoot up. They'll just be like, oh, God.
It's flapping in the wind.
Apparently, long-bladed is a hyphenated word. I should have known that. I saw your milk dud comment. Sorry, I was laughing. Um, Robbie, you reading what I'm typing?
Let's see. I was keeping up with the chat, but I recognize. Well, at least I know you've read that far. And that's where he got it, apparently.
I've read all of it, but I like to throw those little homages in. Yeah, that guy got it from Gideon, but Gideon got it from someone else. So
Yep. Things just keep circling around, and circling around, and circling around. Eric wanted to know, is the Man's Marauders, was that those released on Audible too? He said he couldn't find it.
They should be. I'll have to double check. I think all of the sci-fis are out, but if not, I will have to go back and double check.
Sorry, Eric, I didn't see your question earlier, so.
Kate Bowers, that's funny. When I first started writing, when I first started seriously trying to dedicate time to books, it was like tick, 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 like mostly with just two fingers. But I got to where I could type without looking at the keyboard. And I've got, what was it? Is it 36 books now? Almost 37 in print. That adds up to a couple million words. Once you've done that much, you get pretty good on a keyboard. I probably just flat out could type about between 80 and 100 words a minute if I'm just really flying and I know exactly what I'm going to type. But if I'm thinking while I'm typing, that drops down to about 45 to 50. Um, but any writer after they've written a few books is going to get faster. And Robbie's going to run into the same thing. He's on. You're going to start book number 5, and by the time you hit 10, dude, your typing speed will be so much faster.
Oh, the speed my typing was at when I first became an officer was like my little brother used to say I used the circle and swoop method. But so I'm not saying I'm good now, but if I'd have started this back then, it would have took me 10 years to write one book probably. The way I typed. And yeah, Dash, that's what I'm talking about. The old typewriters, what we used to do reports. Well, actually, when I first started, we didn't do them on typewriter. We hand wrote them because they were all in triplicate. We were too poor to afford a typewriter at our police department.
Roxanne says her dad could type 99 words a minute with two fingers. Good God, that is typing. Taking a page from you, Robbie.
Where are you talking about at? We're at
Just using the word TAE instead of T apostrophe.
Yeah. I was looking at for like something specific that you said. And I noticed you were writing it that way. That's what me research said.
How far have we gotten? Well, that's not bad. 1, 2, 3. On the 4th page. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Travis. How about we give away 5 memberships real quick?
I was just about to suggest that.
It's already 9:30. It's moving quicker than I expected. Okay.
Be active in the chat.
Yep, y'all have to be active in the chat to be able to win. So,
Start chatting.
yeah, if you haven't said anything in the last few minutes, now's a good time to say something. Thank you, Travis. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. Okay. Let's give away 5, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. We're about getting ready to drop 5, so I'm not sure who it's going to pick, but congratulations to everybody that it picks. Hopefully this time it doesn't pick me or Robbie, because it has in the past.
Yep.
But it's random. I got no control over it.
Northeast Media, Germanic Werewolf, LS420 Stoner, Base Mike. He's moving so fast. Hold on. Based Mike D for Life, and Craig Schultz.
Congratulations, everybody.
Was that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So we got Northeast Media, Germanic Werewolf, LS420 Stoner, Base Mike D for Life, and Craig Schultz. Congratulations to all the winners.
Yeah, definitely. Congrats, y'all. We'll save the other 5. We'll give those away on Wednesday night.
You put Sable instead of Stable.
Oops. Apparently, it doesn't like the comma. Man, it is the pickiest thing in the world. Use a comma. Don't use a comma. I'm going to change my mind 5 times.
Oh, I'm telling you, you get, if you got Grammarly turned on and Word, they will back and forth. That's why I ended up turning Word stuff off and just go with Grammarly, because you got to pick one or the other anyway.
Was Claudius the right name? I keep saying that, but
You had Claudius and Crixus. What you
yeah,
talking about for your Optimo or whatever?
yeah, Optio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Optio.
okay.
That's Claudius.
I keep smelling smoke.
Harley's blood on fire.
No, it smells like it's coming in from through my air conditioner. I think somebody, like one of the neighbors, has got a fire going. Yeah, that's got to be coming from outside. Otherwise, the smoke alarm right over there would be going off. I sure hope it doesn't set it off.
Yeah. Angela wants to know if it shouldn't say fastened in place instead of buckled. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but I mean, shields at that time were called bucklers, so that word was a.
Yeah, but she's right. Sword belts back then didn't always have buckles. They did kind of a looping knot to put them in place. Yeah, I'm going to go with fastened. That's a good catch. angle. Yes, Ian's there on purpose. God dang it, freaking type. Okay, I've got all that. Got all that started. They're on their way. Should they have an encounter? Should they run into something? Because if it's going to be a fight, we're going to have to probably save it for next week. But should we have them run into a fight? It's always good to run into a fight. But like I said, if we're gonna have a big encounter where they've got to fight something, it's going to take several pages. So if that's the case,
I'm waiting.
yeah, me too. Giving everybody a minute. I know we're like 5 seconds behind, so
Yeah, they're talking about drunk bears and trees tackling cars.
I like that video somebody sent me. I can't remember who it was. Might have been you, of the bear climbing the tree and it drops the tree in front of the car. And the car stops and the bear gets up and flips him off.
Yeah, I think I sent you that one.
It cracks me up every time I watch it. Pretty sure that's my spirit animal. Dash says show up and fight.
Don says a fight's a good thing. Dr. 45 says, how about they come across somebody else fighting? Fight.
Join a fight already in progress.
Yeah.
Oh, Richie said he sent. I've got it from 2 or 3 people, but it cracks me up. Yeah, thank you for sending it, Richie.
No, he said, did I send? He's asking if he sent it.
Oh,
did
maybe. I've gotten it from 3 or 4 people, but it cracks me up every time I watch it. Oh, Kay Bauer says they could come across a village taken out by dogmen. Maybe.
Not that hadn't
That's
happened
not bad.
before.
Arkansas Hog Hunter says, I think they should have an encounter, but perhaps they should evade the fight but gather intel for the larger battle. Maybe. Tyler 420 says, grizzly bear versus 500 men, who wins? Well, if they're armed, the men. I mean, we're tool users. That's the whole point behind the thing. If 500 men with even sharpened sticks go up against a bear, they're going to win. Now, single combat man versus bear, odds are good on the bear. But you get 500 men, we're going to pick up rocks or sticks or just about anything to use as a weapon because that's why we have thumbs. So, it would never be just hand to hand versus the bear, because I know I'm not going to keep charging into death without any kind of weapon. I'll pick up a sharpened stick or a big rock, or hell, if I've got a knife or a spear or a gun, the fight's over.
I think the general consensus is some type of encounter.
Okay. Well, we're at 9 minutes till the hour, so we will probably stop here. We've gotten about 5 pages in. Let me double check. We started on page 23, and we're on page 28. So yeah, 5 pages. That's pretty good. Okay, 4 pages because page 27 is where we're ending. So 4 solid pages, and we'll pick up next week with the fight. Folks, be thinking about what do you think the fight should be? Whether it should be against dogmen, should it be against tribesmen, should it be some other monster? Should it be, well, there's a lot of possibilities there. Arkansas says, heck, them old Mexican vaqueros used ropes to capture and kill bears back in the day. They used to hunt mountain lions with ropes too. Drag it until it was was basically too beat up to fight anymore, then they'd put it out of its misery. There's an old cowboy song about a guy roping a wild cat and dragging it to death. Roxanne says fighting tribesmen with dogmen behind them. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities. So think about it. I kind of like this Regan character. Kind of liking this guy. And yeah, here you go. Also, be thinking of a last name for him because he might stick around through the book. I kind of like this character. So there, you guys got homework. Help us come up with a last name for Regan, whether or not he has a family, and also what the next big encounter will be. Tammy says no dragging of animals. That's just cruel. I agree, but that has been done throughout history on a lot of occasions. Early man used to chase buffalo and stuff until they would fall off a cliff, and then they'd just go down and take what they wanted. So, the history of mankind has not always been kind. Roxanne says, I was going to say don't kill him yet. I like him. I don't know if he'll stick around forever, but he'll stick around for a while. I like him. Tyler 420 says, did Vikings ever have to fight with bears? Yeah, they would hunt bears.
Of course.
They'd wait till they were hibernating and go in a cave after them.
Yeah. 13th Warrior answered that question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you hunt a bear?
Go in its cave with spears.
No, chase him down with dogs. No. How do you hunt a bear in winter? Go in this cave with spears.
Great movie, by the way. Still one of my favorites.
Yep.
All righty. And I think I don't know what we're going to pick up next week. Again, folks, write your suggestions down. Toshi says, I'm with Julie. Regan's giving me Margolin vibes. Uh-oh. So, okay. There's your assignments. Got to come up with a last name for Regan, whether or not he's got a family. Wife, kids, whatever, or is he single? And whether or not what our next encounter is going to be. So I think we've got a good stopping point and a great starting point for next one because we're going to jump into it with the fight. So there we go. Everybody's got homework. Wyatt says, anyway, he could be Margolin's ancestor. That's entirely possible. Okay, hold on. I'm going to consult the Googles about something. What is the origin of the surname Margolin? Let's see what the Googles had to say. The surname Margolin is of Eastern European Jewish origin, derived from the Hebrew Yiddish word for pearls, referring to the female name Margola, or the Hebrew term Margoliot. It can be a metronymic derived from the mother's name combined with a Slavic possessive suffix, or a Slavicized form similar to Margolis. So more than likely it's going to have some sort of Slavic ancestry to it, but we also know his mother was Hispanic. So Margolin's a mixture, but I don't think there's any. Well, there could be Scots in his ancestry somewhere. With the name Margolin and what was his mother's last name? All right, all those of you who read Demons 1 and 2, what was Margolin's mother's name? She's introduced in Demons 1. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Don
But she's
Sparty. Don says you already said Reagan had a wife.
I did? I didn't remember that. Apparently.
That's what Don said.
Okay, well, I did not remember saying that. Oh, yeah, he said his wife braided the thong for him.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, so we know he's married. Does he have kids? What kind of house does he live in? Let's help flesh out the character of Reagan, and we'll also, you guys can help figure out what the encounter is going to be with. It could be a fight with other Celtic tribesmen. It could be a fight with other Romans. It could be a fight with something not even human. So, Roxanne Delgado says, could be a Jewish ancestry who fought with the Romans. Or they could have fought against each other at Masada. That'd be an interesting story in and of itself. Well, okay then. All right. Tom and Tammy says fight with cryptids. Well, think about what you guys want, where you guys want this story to go for next week, and we'll pick it up there. And again, help us come up with a backstory for Reagan, because I kind of like this character. And move this out here in the middle. What do you guys think of the new logo? I'm kind of happy with it. I think it came out really good. Tammy says she's been to Masada. That would be cool. I would love to go to Masada. I was kind of proud of the way the logo came out.
I like it.
Well, alrighty then. I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and it can just go back to me and Robbie this way. But I'm really enjoying this story, folks. For next week, we'll pick up with a fight and maybe a little more details about Reagan. Since the chapter is called the Oracle, at the end of the chapter, they're going to have to finally reach the Oracle. Otherwise, we need to change the name of the chapter. We need for him to, the final objective is to reach the Oracle. Now, all he's got to do is get there and just meet her. That's fine to call it the Oracle that way. But if there's no mention of the Oracle in the chapter, there's no point in calling it the Oracle. Dr. 45 says a fight between two tribes with dogmen picking off victims. I like that. Richie Evans says, question, did any of y'all know Bob Ross made 400 plus videos of the same pictures, but he was telling a story the whole time? And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Not only are we doing the story together, but this is to share the process with y'all, because we really do want you guys to be invested, not just in the stories, but the process. This is our way of letting you in much farther than you normally get to be with a writer and with a story. And this is I think it's a great exercise because it's shared storytelling. You guys have influence on the story, you got influence on the characters. And I think it really is giving this a great flavor and feel for the story itself, but it's also allowing you guys, like I've said before, a glimpse behind the curtain. Robbie, what do you think, brother?
I agree. I mean, for the longest time, I had no idea what was involved in it, and then even after you told me, when I told you, okay, I sent you what I'd started, and you set me on my journey. I still really, and even now, still learning, don't have an idea of it, but I think it's cool to show them what goes into what we do, because there's a lot more that goes into it than I thought. I was one of those that thought, oh, you just sit down and you just write. I mean, when I sent you my first first draft of it, it was all, one big long paragraph. There was no spacing between it. There was, and you don't understand all that stuff until you start doing it. And it's cool to see, how that process goes on.
And to me, it's a lot of fun sharing that process with you guys, because it's one thing for you guys to watch us on a regular show when we talk about writing or we talk about the process, but you actually get to see the process. And I'm happy we're doing this, because it's to me it's giving you guys a much more sense of investment in the stories, because at least in this particular short story, and you guys know Robbie and I have interconnected stories. Our stories do connect. What we're doing here will throw out little strands of webbing that will affect other books. So in a sense, you guys are truly helping to shape the expanded universe.
Yep. And that's what we're talking about well, this is kind of leading towards what's already happened here. So, it's shaping up that way, and it never never intended for it to go that way. And just the way the story progressed, DA was like, "Hey, dude, this is like shaping up to like explain some of the stuff." And I'm like, "You know what? You're right. It is." So,
and tonight's a great example how one little detail can change the whole direction of the story. Like the addition of Regan, adding him in has now changed the dynamic of the story. And every little detail, every little stone you throw in the pond has a rippling effect. So if Regan sticks around and ends up becoming a semi-permanent character for this story, at least makes it through the story, who's to know where his ancestors might pop up? Or you never know. Things can happen. We might see more of Regan in other books.
And here's the thing: y'all are gonna. Anybody in this chat that reads my next book that's coming out, you're going to get to a line and you're going to read it and you're going to be like, I remember that. Because there is going to be DA has written a line in this book that directly correlates with something that I've already written.
Arlen, you're right. I'm seeing some great ideas in this chat. Folks, take your notes. And if you write down your ideas, or you can message them to me or Robbie. You could email them to me, or just hang on to them and we can discuss them in the chat. But next week we will pick up where we are leaving off tonight, and that will take us into the next fight. And again, help us come up with the backstory for Regan. Whether we know he's married. Does he have kids? Does he live in a basically a hide hut, like a yurt or a teepee? Does he have a sod cottage? Is it mortar? What's it made of? What kind of livestock does he keep? There's a lot of details about Regan that really flesh the character out that we haven't even touched. So think about those ideas about because you guys created the character. Believe it or not, you guys did create the character. I basically said what I wanted for the character. You guys made the character. So now you guys get to help breathe life into this character. And we'll see. He may end up becoming a fixture. We'll see. I like the character. I think he's cool. I think he's interesting, and I'm really looking forward to hearing you guys' ideas on backstory for him. If he is to become crucial to the story for the rest of at least this book, yeah, those details matter. They matter a lot. And also be thinking about what the next encounter is going to be, and you guys are going to help shape that. So every detail you guys come up with is, again, it's just like tossing a rock into a pond. Those ripples are going to expand out, and they're going to affect literally everything else in the book. And I really appreciate you guys jumping into this and staying with us on this, because at the end of the day, when we finish this manuscript, it's going to be it's literally going to be a community project. It will be all of us. I might be the one physically typing, putting words on the screen, but the details along the way, this journey is being shaped by all of us. And I'm kind of proud of that. Uh, Mr. Anderson said I would have fun with that. Generally, this is esoteric, but in a fantasy setting, it'd be fun to share something based on a real mythology. And I try to bring as much real mythology and history into the writing as I can. That's why I stopped and checked period apparent garb. I needed to know if he'd be in a kilt. Kilts apparently didn't come around for another 1600 years, so it would be completely inappropriate to have him show up wearing a kilt, carrying a two-handed claymore over his shoulder. None of those are done yet. For him to have a broadsword, that's pretty typical of that time frame. And those are just the details that go into building the foundation of a solid story. It doesn't matter if you're writing a story about a character who's just learning to tame a horse, or for the zombie apocalypse. Every story has to have a solid foundation to build it on, because you have to create what we call suspension of disbelief. People will forgive a lot of things if you don't screw up the little details. They'll accept a zombie apocalypse as long as Jimmy Joe Bob isn't clicking the safety off on his Glock 17, that kind of thing, or jumped in a car, and jumped in a car that you guys know. For example, if you say jumped in a 67 Chevelle and said put it in park, 67 Chevelle came with a 4-speed. It did not come with an automatic ignition. There's little details like that the people that know their history will spot, and those are the little details that your foundation has to be built on. And that's something I tried to teach Robbie.
Or like somebody I read something one time, said he got in his 1983 Corvette. I'm like, really? That's a museum piece, because there's no such thing as a 1983 Corvette.
They didn't make them that year.
Corvette was produced, or the 82 was produced to February of 83.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but stuff like that, that might seem minor, just like what DA was saying about the safety. But even little minor things like that are things that can throw you off. And you're like, if you got that wrong, what else did they get wrong?
Don, my dream car is a 67 Chevelle SS. That's my dream car. If I won the lottery tomorrow, that's the car I would buy. I don't need a Lamborghini. I don't want any of that crap. Give me a 67 Chevelle every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
Mine is also a 67, just not a Chevelle.
What's yours?
Corvette with a 427 SS. Bubble back split glass.
I'm not a huge fan of Corvettes, but if I was going to own a Corvette, I'm just me. I mean, I like them. I don't hate them, but they're not my favorite of the cars. But if I was going to own a Corvette, I'd want either a 63 with the split rear window, or the 57 with that two-tone body. That was a beautiful Corvette.
My dad's got a 58.
Oh, there was a 56 at the casino down in Durant, Oklahoma, the Choctaw Casino. I got pictures of me somewhere, as close as I could get to it. It was roped off, but it was a 56 in there, and it was beautiful.
Yep. Dad's got a 58, 69, and a 76.
But the whole point behind that is that you've got to get your little details correct.
Mm-hmm.
The little details will make or break a story, and anybody that ignores the little details does so at their peril, because it's a lot harder for me to really thoroughly enjoy a book or even a TV show when they screw up the basic details. My wife loves Criminal Minds. I think it's a cool show. I watch it with her, but I got to turn off my cop filter because it is not accurate. The BAU guys, yes, they are FBI agents, but they don't kick indoors. They are analysts. They build a profile, and they turn the profile over to the rest of the bureau. Same thing with CSI. Lab rats don't kick indoors. Just doesn't happen. In fact, most lab guys I know don't even carry a gun.
I know like maybe two guys in Greenville County that work in their forensics and lab area and everything. 2 guys out of that entire unit that actually carry guns. And the only reason they do is because they're on the we call the team that goes in to do the
forensics
lab.
team.
No, that goes in to do the like meth labs and things like that.
Oh yeah, the crime scene team that actually goes into the
like if a road unit calls in and says, hey, we got a meth lab here or a mobile meth lab or something like that. That's really the only reason they carry their guns is because they go out and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
All the rest of them that are Class 1 certified that work in a lab, they don't carry their guns.
They don't need to. Mr. Anderson, I didn't take it that way. You don't need to apologize. You were just, when you just pointed that out, I was just saying that, those real world details, whether you're telling a fantasy story, a sci-fi story, or any other kind of story, the foundation that you build your story on has to be factually correct. Even for a sci-fi universe, even though it's advanced technology with all kinds of stuff, you still need to get your details correct. Is it plausible? Is it believable? Can you explain it? So no matter what kind of story you're writing, you still, those little details are what's going to make or break that story. Granted, the whole big picture has got to be good. You've got to tell a good story from start to finish, just plain and simple. If you're not telling a good story, you're going to lose your audience. But you will lose your audience a lot faster if you don't portray your story correctly. If you don't provide the correct sequencing, the correct details, be as historically accurate as you can, especially if you're doing something that's based in history. Those details matter. Angela Monroe says 67 Impala. I like the 67 Impala, but if you look at the body style of a 67 Impala and a 67 Chevelle, they're almost identical, except the Chevelle is 2-door.
It's just a longer body, longer chassis.
Yeah, they both came with a 327. They're basically the same car, only the Impala was a 4-door.
Dad had a 69 Chevelle that he had one and he wrecked it and he loved that car and he took the engine out of that and put it in his 69 Corvette and then took it out of that and put it in my grandfather's 69 Ford F100. Well, then he saved up and finally found him another 69 Chevelle, was going to put it in that. And then when we had all those big storms a couple of years ago, a bunch of trees fell down, and the only car it hit was his 69 Chevelle.
That sucks. Well, folks, we're going to start winding things down. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for Monday Mayhem. Glad you guys like the new Monday Mayhem logo. Hopefully by next week we'll have, to further set the show apart, have its own intro and outro. But for now, we're still going to use the same Nightmare Hunter intro and outro. But look for some changes coming soon, because I'm going to keep this feature around. This is a good exercise for me as well. It helps me to flex my creativity. Really, kind of as a writer, it's helping me address my own issues, and that's something that every writer needs to do. I've said it many times, and I will always say this: I'm in no competition with any other writer. The only writer I'm trying to be better than is the one I was yesterday, and that's the way it's always going to be. Robbie, anything you want to add? Tell them where to get your books and stuff.
Amazon until DA gets the website done, then the website, but it'll still take you probably to Amazon. I'm going to have some books at Ohio. I've got 20 sitting over here. I've got book 3 and book 1. So when I get paid next week, I'll probably get 10 more of book 2. So I'll have some of those in Ohio. So if you're there and you want some, I'll have some there. Other than that, Amazon. I am thinking about doing some expanding, maybe changing some things around and going to some different platforms to see if it'll work. If it does work, then maybe DA will come out of those two. We'll just see.
And folks, if you want to join us at that event in Ohio, it's going to be, it's called the Spirit of the Forest. And you can go to got it right the first time. Yay! I finally did it. I won't do it again, but I did it this time. Go to Eventbrite and eventbrite.com and search Spirit of the Forest, and you can get your tickets there. It's going to be Friday and Saturday. But I believe Thursday evening is a VIP meet and greet where you can have dinner with the speakers. I'm speaking there. Robbie's going to be speaking and teaching a tracking class that I'm going to help him with. C. Wayne Tothero is going to be there teaching casting.
Russell Acord.
Yeah, Russell Acord's going to be there from Expedition Bigfoot. He's going to be talking about some of the show. He's going to be talking about the show and some of his own experiences. Miss Naomi's going to be there telling stories around a campfire like she did last year, which went over really well. There's going to be some great folks there, and check it out. And we hope to see you guys there. We got to hang out with Kevin Bode and KC Calloway and his wife Angel last year at it, and it was awesome. They're a hoot and a half, and I recognized Kevin instantly because he comes walking in the door wearing his Codename Wild Hunts hoodie. I was like, hey, I know that guy.
Yep.
But I really hope you guys will join us there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, the first weekend in October, I believe it's October 4th. Let me consult the calendar. The 4th of October will be the Ozark Mountain Bigfoot Festival here in Springfield, Missouri. Also, buy your tickets for that on Eventbrite. It also has a VIP dinner the night before. You can sign up for that, and they're doing a camping trip for 4 days after the event. But I think they may be sold out of tickets on that. Last I knew, they only had like 6 remaining because they're only going to take so many people. Because I can tell you from personal experience, if you take a whole crowd of people out in the woods, you're not going to hear anything. That's just too many people, and you'll be lucky to even hear tree knocks. I mean, that many people out in the woods is just more of a distraction than it is a help. So they try to keep the camping trip to a small number of people. But check it out also on eventbrite.com, and we would love to see you there on the 4th. We'll have books there, and we'll be there. I'll be one of the featured speakers. They've got some really good speakers lined up for it as well. C. Wayne Tothero is going to be at that one as well. But they also have Ryan Gombleski. They call him RPG. I've never met him, but looking forward to meeting him. God, there's 6 speakers, and I can't remember who all of them are. Just not off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But there's going to be some really cool people there. So hopefully you guys will be there, and we would love to hang out with you guys and swap Bigfoot stories and who knows, might end up taking over a restaurant when the show is over for the day on the 4th. You never know. We might get people together and go try some local barbecue. 'Cause I don't know that I'm going to be able to make the camping trip, simply because I'm not in the condition as I used to be. With my back, I can't sleep on the ground anymore. So unless I could figure something out to get a camper there, there's no way I can sleep on the ground. I'm just not in the shape for it anymore. But yeah, I would love to hang out with you guys, and I don't know if I don't end up going on a camping trip and some of y'all around here, maybe we can go out to Joe Bald or something to show you guys around. Roxanne's going to be there. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I should have the moderator hats by later this week, Roxanne. So I'll give you yours in person. And Kevin, I'll have yours at Ohio. I'll bring it to you. That'll save me on some postage. But I should have all of the moderator hats. And we've also got new hats for the channel. There are Nightmare Hunter podcast hats that Robbie's made, and they're pretty epic. They look really good. You'll be able to order those sometime if you're interested. That hat's dusty.
I know. This is
But the patch came out really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of catching glare on the light. You can't really
That's
see
why
it.
I'm trying to move it so it'll. There we go.
Yeah. But I really like the way that patch came out. It looks really good.
Yep.
So if you want one of those, let Robbie know, and he can get those to you. Just get with him on price and shipping, and he'll get those to you. Wyatt, yeah, I've got another hat for you too. Wyatt, you won one of the Sigwo hats in a giveaway a while back. I still have that for you. Also, Wyatt, probably sometime this month, I mean September, I want to get down there to Drury Mincy, and I want to take you and Noah, obviously, and well, Robbie ain't going to be able to make it, but I want to make our first foray into Drury Mincy this month. So I want to go with at least 4 people. I'd prefer 6, but with the very minimum, we're going to take 4 armed individuals down there and probably fly the drone around. So that's something I'm planning on doing. May even want to try to get back into Combs Ferry again before October. So may have some outings planned for this month. Wyatt, I'll get with you. I'll shoot you a text later, but yeah, I want to get that planned. I'm going to see if Jenkins wants to go, and maybe a couple of the guys I knew from my old sheriff's department. That way, we've got guys that I know are cool under fire and are well armed. Trying to think if there's anything else. That's about all I can think of. You can find all of my books, obviously, at daroberts.net or on amazon.com. You can find Robbie's books on amazon.com. Be watching for the website to be upgraded soon. The nightmarehunter.com will feature all of us, including Dark Angel Medical. It'll have links for Sigwo. All of our affiliates will have a link, have a page and a link from that website. And we will continue to update it with new books and things like that. So it's going to be the one encompassing website, not just for the show, but to encompass everything we talk about. So, be watching for that. The website's already up, but it was an old blog site that I used, but I've held that domain for a while, and now I've got to rebuild the site. If anybody out there is good at website design, get a hold of me, because I could use the help. I won't say that I suck at it, but I suck at it. Now that we got that out of the way, we are still planning on doing the newsletter. Waiting on Miss Lene to get to feeling better before we really start committing stuff to paper. But we will be doing a newsletter soon that'll keep you guys updated about stuff like the shows and who's coming on, and books coming in the wings and other things as well. And if you want to become involved with the newsletter, shoot me an email or a text, because we will be seeing if folks want to contribute to the newsletter or help produce the newsletter. That way it doesn't take up a lot of my time from writing, but I still want to get that out so we can share news with everybody and keep everybody updated. And we'll start building a bigger email list. We'll get people to subscribe to the newsletter, and we can spread that out that way. We'll just produce it as a PDF, send it out as an email. You can download it. I'll even post it like on the Patreon, so anybody on the Patreon can just download it. So we'll definitely we've got a lot of stuff planned coming up, and I think it's the direction that everything's taking. I think you're gonna see some awesome stuff coming in the very near future. Me, Robbie, and Doc are working on some ideas for promos that I think you guys are really gonna like, and some that might take you a little bit by surprise. Like I said, we've got some cool stuff in the works. But don't forget the 22 a day foundation. I would be completely remiss if I didn't mention the 22 a day. Again, what I mentioned the other night, a friend of mine, I'm not going to say who he is. You guys know him. He's been in the chat many times. You guys have seen his name. He recently had to deal with a officer who lost to the 22 a day. An officer shot himself. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I won't say what department, I won't say where, I won't say who, but just keep that that person and his family and his department in your prayers, because that takes a toll on everybody. Um, and it's a hard thing to deal with. Um, there's a reason why I get teary eyed every time I hear the song Taps. Just can't help it. I do. We were watching a show the other night, and Taps was played, and I had tears streaming down my cheeks. I do. Keep prayers up for Miss Lene. She's better, but still healing up. She had pretty extensive back surgery, had a couple of vertebrae fused. And it's a pretty big surgery. She's home. She's resting. She's in a lot of pain, but that's to be expected with, fairly significant back surgery. It'll probably be weeks before she's fully recovered. But she gets a little better every day, and her pain level is already better than it was, but it's still going to be pretty rough on her for a while. And I'm sure most of y'all know, once you get past 30, you don't heal quite as quick as you once did. When I had this pacemaker put in, I wasn't allowed to use my left hand for almost a month, and I'm left-handed. You talk about suck. That sucked big time. And when I did move it, it hurt like hell. So, yeah, keep her in your prayers. Keep that officer and his family and his fellow officers and friends, extended family, keep them in your prayers. And anyone out there, if you're going through something, we'll be praying for you too. And, we appreciate each and every one of you guys spending time with us. And we really appreciate you guys being here for Monday Mayhem, because I thoroughly enjoy it. I get to have you be part of the process, and I'm really enjoying doing that. So we're going to close her out with a toast, and it's not the same toast that we do on the other nights, so we don't need to take off our hats. But we'll close her out with the toast. And again, it's another good old Irish drinking toast. And it says, there are good ships and wood ships and ships that sail the sea. But the best ships are friendships, and may they always be. Thank you, folks, for being with us. Slán Ma, and we will see you guys on Wednesday night. Thank you, folks.
Plains, the winds are howling, saloon doors swinging, shadows growling. 3 lawmen stand tough as rawhide. Yeah, Doc and DA, nothing can abide. Whiskey shots and poker faces, staring down the darkest spaces in this town where legends roam. These boys bring justice, sending evil home. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Jed's a howler, claws of steel. Doc's a biter, makes the devil real. But DA's a shifty one, a shape-shifting soul, can turn to anything, takes any form, takes control. Tonight the chupacabras come to town, sucking the life from all around. But these lawmen, they ain't afraid, they'll face the darkness unafraid. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Bat wings flap rap. The air grows cold, a chilling trap. But these lawmen, they're ready to fight underneath the pale moonlight. Jet and Doc transform with a howl. DA shifts, becomes a night owl. Together they stand, a force so strong against the evil right in the road. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless